Ladies and gentlemen, PC and console captains alike, my name is Phoenix and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be doing the design review of the Resolute class. I had planned on doing this a while ago, but I decided to get the Recon Destroyer and did that review instead. So we're coming back to the Resolute here. So this is the T6 version of the Excelsior class. So what we can see here, first of all, is the primary hull, which is this spoon-shaped or oval-shaped saucer section. This is something I'm actually not really a fan of. It's not too bad, but it's something I don't think the Excelsior class or the predecessor of the Excelsior class, I don't think it fits, to be honest. Another thing that I don't like here is on top of it, you have like the Starfleet Delta logo. And the problem with that is it's present regardless of what you do. It also pretty much blacks out the name and the registry of the ship. And that's kind of a bit of bone contention with me, is I like to see the name and registry big and bolded on the saucer section of the ship. That's just my personal takeaway. If you have something different, then that's fine by me. Now we're going to go to the secondary hull, where I think it's a lot smaller. When I look at, say, the Excelsior or the Excelsior refit, it is obviously a lot smaller. The Resolute one is very, very small compared to the older versions. Now, I don't know if that is due to maybe resources, or maybe that's just the way they designed it. Maybe this one didn't need as many personnel on the ship, but it is a lot smaller, and something I'm not really a big fan of. I see that they have like these like little blue lines, one near the bottom, that's glowing. I don't know what that is supposed to be honest. The one thing that I do see that is similar to the previous advanced heavy cruisers is the neck. This is something I actually like on the Resolute compared to the other ones, because it has that little swoop near the at the base of the saucer section, which kind of hides all like the shuttle bays out there. Speaking of shuttle bays, I've counted about 9 shuttle bays just on the Resolute alone. So I don't know whether this is supposed to be a like kind of like a ship that ferries ambassadors, or if this was supposed to be designed as a flight carrier type deal ship. But I just noticed that there's a lot of shuttle bays here, which is kind of strange. Anyways, moving on here, we have the staunches or the pylons, which one you prefer. These I don't mind. I think it gives a nice little flair to the ship. It's actually something that I actually enjoy putting on my ships. I prefer the older version, and then just have like this staunch on it, which is really, really nice, along with the neck. The one thing that I don't like is the I guess the big block in the middle that holds the staunches. I think that's just too big, whereas the other ones were too small. However, I can probably understand why it is a lot bigger, because those pylons are a lot bigger than they were in the previous versions. Here's something that I absolutely really, really hate on this ship is the warp nacelles. These things are big, they're ugly, and they're not aesthetically pleasing. Now, I'm not sure what the whole design of these warp nacelles were, whether it's better capacity, I am not entirely sure. They do have these 4 little rings on the inside of the warp nacelle, I guess where the warp nacelle and Bassard collector meet. I don't know exactly what those are for, maybe for venting maybe say plasma, or maybe that's how they get gases into the Bassar collectors, is through these 8 little ports on the side. Speaking or continuing on with the nacelles, the Bassar collectors are extremely huge for what I guess normally they would need it for. Again, I don't know if this is supposed to be, like a deep space type vessel or something like that, but there is all these these large warp nacelles and Bassar collectors, and like I said, I don't find them very aesthetically pleasing. I think that they're too big for it's a too big ratio compared to what the ship is, I believe. Maybe this gives better warp flow. I don't know for sure. So moving on, the one thing that I didn't point out on the primary hull is the underneath the primary hull is, I guess you could say it would be like an observation deck. That's something that they kept with the Resolute. That's been in the previous versions, and it looks very, very nice. I think it's just like sort of an updated version of the observation deck. The deflector dish on the secondary hull is very much like how it was on the previous versions. It is very, very set in, and it's very, very small. So I don't know what that is really for. Next thing I notice is near the aft of the ship, underneath of it, there's also, looks like maybe like an observation deck. I don't know there, but just past that is 2 little circles. I don't know if those are like warp core hatches, so it can let go of the warp core. And the question is does this have 2 warp cores, or is it just one? I'm not entirely sure. But it is interesting to see where the warp core really is. I'm not entirely sure. Looking on top of the ship, there seems to be one possibly hatch right near the aft, just before the shuttle bay, but I don't think that would be where the warp core would be. I think it's too far back, and that's exactly where a shuttle bay would be. So I'm not entirely sure, but there are some things that I do find nice about this ship. One being the neck of the ship with the things that protect the shuttle bays, as the shuttle will come in or out. And I do like the pylons or staunches, whatever you prefer. That's nice. And like I said, the only thing I don't like is that big block in the middle. But if I don't like it, then I can change it to something else, which is nice. So that's pretty much it. It's not really, it's not the best looking ship. I don't think it was the best designed ship. I know it was supposed to be, sort of like a labor of love from like the original, but there's just some things that I don't like about this ship, and the biggest one is the warp nacelles. I wish they would, reduce the warp nacelles, make it look a little prettier, or even have it like how the Andromeda class has their warp nacelles. I think that might fit a little bit better than these big honking ugly things on the side of the ship. Well, that is it for today's video, and as always, I'd like to hear from you. Do you like the design of this ship? What don't you like? What do you like? And is there anything that you would love to see changed if there was a T7 version of this vessel? Let me know your answers and any questions you have down in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching. Live long and prosper. And as always, we'll see you out there.